Free NFL picks. This is action here for Sunday, January 1st. I'm Tony T with our NFL pick show here for Sunday's action. We have all 14 games. Before we get into just a couple of things, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We have free NFL picks all season long, and we load tons of free picks on our channel, so it is a good time to subscribe. And also, if you would support our channel and like this video, give us that thumbs up. Greatly appreciate that. Then visit Tony'sPicks.com. We are a multi-capper site showcasing our top cappers in our industry. Click the links to the hot cappers, get signed up to some of our long-term passes. See some of our hot cappers up here on the board right now. Like Tiffany, who's been on fire. Pravi's been on a fire as well. Hollywood Sam, Ramon. Click the links and get signed up to some of our long-term passes. You'll find our premium picks here, right here on the center of the page. We'll have plenty of them for you Sunday. Best bets as well up there. Each capper can release one best bet per a sport per day. And our $15 premium pick is a promotional item. Each capper can designate one of their plays from their card as a $15 premium pick. Just introduce their service to new and existing customers. 3 packs offer great value. We'll have plenty of them up there for Sunday's action. If you prefer, you can also purchase our picks a la carte on our pick ticker, sorted by time with team versus team information. You can save 20% off all premium pick packages when you use that promo code TonyT at checkout. You can access our page by clicking the link you see in the description. Click the All Cappers tab and get signed up. We always love to hear from you guys, so you can post your picks in the comments. We are looking for cappers, so you can apply. And we do put all our picks and shows in podcast form. Tony's Picks is the podcast, available on all major platforms. Just search Tony's Picks. All right, let's go ahead. Let's get this one started. Cardinals and Falcons NFL pick here. This one on Sunday. Well, both teams out of the playoffs. Murray and McCoy out for Arizona with injuries. Receiver Hopkins with their right tackle also will be questionable. On defense, out are a defensive end and linebacker with a corner questionable. Falcons have a second guard questionable with the defensive starters healthy. Cardinals carry a 5-game losing streak into this game after their 19-16 home overtime loss to Tampa Bay. Past 3 games, Arizona averaging only 296 yards with 4.6 yards per play, defensively allowing 4.6 yards per rush. David Blau will get the start and has been with the team for just 3 weeks. Trace McSorley just has been ineffective. Blau has seen action in 3 games with a 57% completion rate with 6.2 yards per attempt. Atlanta has lost 4 straight and 7 of 8. They come off the 17-9 road defeat at Baltimore. Defensively, they did limit the Ravens to 302 yards with 115 passing on 17 attempts. Rookie Desmond Ridder showed improvement with 67% completion rate in that one with 6.6 yards per attempt. On the year, Ridder a 59% completion rate, 5.3 yards per pass attempt. It's just tough to lay 6 points with a team that has lost 6 of 7. Past 3 games, Falcons averaging just 14 points a game. Play here will be on Arizona at +6. Bears and Lions NFL pick here for Sunday. Wide receiver Claypool out for the Bears with their defensive starters healthy. Lions center questionable with a safety out. Bears are 3-12 and out of the playoffs with that 35-13 home defeat to the Buffalo Bills. Really poor offensive showing with just 209 yards. They gave up 416 yards to the Bills with 254 rushing on 31 attempts. 8 straight losses for the Bears, allowing 25 or greater points in each game. Justin Fields is playing through a shoulder and foot injury. Past 3 games, he has completed 71% of his passes for 7.6 yards per attempt. He's rushed for 17 yards in this period with 6.3 yards per attempt. Now, the Lions dropped to 7-8, a 37-23 road defeat to Carolina. This broke a 3-game win streak. Defense let the Lions down in the loss. They gave up 570 yards, 320 rushing on 43 attempts. Lions fell behind 31-7 early in that third quarter. But Jared Goff did complete 59%, 8.5 yards per attempt. He passed for 355 yards and 3 touchdowns over the past 4 games. Goff, a 66% completion rate with 8 yards per attempt. He passed for 1,277 yards in this period with 9 touchdowns, no picks. Both weak defenses with the Lions offense performing well. Detroit over in 6 of 8 at home by averaging 32 points and 400 yards a game, but they are giving up 419 yards and 27 points a game at home. Bears defense past 3 games has been poor, giving up 401 yards, 29 points a game. Lion run defense a concern to back them on the spread with Fields playing. Play here will be on Chicago and Detroit over 52.5. Jaguars and Texans NFL pick here for Sunday. Lawrence questionable with the guard as well on offense. Defensively, an end and linebacker questionable. Texans starters on offense all healthy. Jacksonville is 7-8 after a 19-3 road win at the New York Jets. 3 straight wins for the Jaguars. AFC South winner will be decided next week as the Jaguars face the Titans. But should the Jacksonville win here and lose next week, they still have an 8% chance to make the playoffs. So this game does matter to the Jags. During this win streak, the Jaguars are averaging 432 yards and allowing 329. Lawrence has played through a toe injury for some time now. On this streak, Lawrence, a 67% completion rate with 8 yards per attempt. He's passed for 915 yards, 7 touchdowns, and an interception. Houston fell to 2-12-1, a 19-14 road win at Tennessee. Texans have covered 3 straight, though. Offense only produced 285 yards in the win, but held the Titans to 272 yards. In this 3-game period, the Texans are getting outgained by 115 yards, plus allowing 5.3 yards per run. The pass defense improved by allowing 6.6 yards per attempt in these 3 games. Davis Mills was inserted back into the starting lineup, which began this cover streak. In this 3-game span, Mills a 61% completion rate with 6.5 yards per attempt. He passed for 474 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Texans won the first meeting 13-6. They've won 9 straight against the Jaguars. The play here will be on Houston +3. Broncos and Chiefs. NFL pick here for Sunday. Denver receivers Judy and Hilton both questionable. Linebacker Gregory out with a nose tackle and linebacker questionable. Casey healthy on both sides of the football. Denver fell to 4-11, a 51-14 road defeat to the LA Rams. The team has lost 6 of 7. Broncos produced only 323 yards. Russell Wilson completed 55% of his passes with 3 interceptions. On the road, the Broncos post under only 14 points, about 15 points a game, and they've lost 7 of 8. KC improved to 12-3. It was a 24-10 home win to Seattle. In cold weather, the Chiefs were held to only 297 yards. They did limit the Seahawks to 333 yards, only 5 yards per pass attempt. They were 3 of 3 inside the red zone. The Chiefs have won 8 of 9, but covering only once in this period. KC defense getting in great form, holding opponents to 291 yards over the past 3 games. KC wins out, Bills split or lose their final 2 games, and the Chiefs earn the top seed in the AFC. Play here will be Kansas City at -12.5. Dolphins and Patriots. NFL pick here for action on Sunday. Tua Tagovailoa out with their fullback and left tackle out. On defense, 2 starting linebackers questionable. New England has the receiver Parker out with running back Stevenson, wide receiver Thornton, and tight end Henry questionable. On defense, both corners are questionable. Miami fell to 8-7, a 26-20 home defeat to Green Bay. It is a 4-game losing streak. Dolphins were held to scoreless here in the final 34 minutes. They held the Packers to only 301 yards. Quarterback play has been an issue for the Dolphins in their past 3 games with 52% completion rate and lack of third down conversions. Defense has had issues defending the pass, allowing 289 yards, 68% completion rate in this period. They looked to Teddy Bridgewater. Veteran saw action in 4 games on the year, completing 62% of his passes with 8.7 yards per attempt. Dolphins are running for 5.8 yards per rush the past 3 games, with Tua accounting for only 35 rushing yards in this period. New England fell to 7-8, a 22-18 home defeat to Cincinnati. Poor offensive showing 285 yards. They did rally down from a 22-zip deficit at the half to make it 22-18 with 6 minutes remaining. 10 points came from the offense, with the defense returning a pick 6, 69 yards. Patriots have lost 4 of 5, with Mac Jones completing 62% of his passes with 6.7 yards per attempt. He has passed for 5 touchdowns and an interception in the span. Yardage totals have been too low for this team. Miami wins their final 2 games and will make the playoffs. Patriots went out and they make the playoffs. 1 more loss and eliminated for New England. Dolphins' last 3 road games sees the defense give up 410 yards with 297 passing with 69% completion rate. Strongest unit here is on the field is the Patriot defense. Play here New England -2.5. Colts and Giants. NFL pick here for Sunday. Indianapolis tight end Granson out with a corner on defense as well. Starters on offense healthy for the Giants here. With cornerback out, linebacker questionable. Indianapolis drops to 4-10-1. It was a 20-3 home defeat to the LA Chargers. A poor offensive showing just 173 yards. Losing streak now 5 straight for Indianapolis, and they've lost 8 of 9. Nick Foles made his first start last week, completed 58%, 4.9 yards per attempt. He passed for 143 yards and an interception. Colts defense has digressed mildly since the coaching change. Past 3 road games, the Colts defense given up 404 yards, 4.7 yards per rush, 274 passing yards, and about 38 points a game. Giants fell to 8-6-1 with their 27-24 road defeat at Minnesota. Giants did move the football against a weak Vikings defense for 445 yards. They lose on a 61-yard field goal by the Vikings as time expired. They allowed 270 passing yards to the Vikings. Giants are winless in 5 of 6 with the home tie. Daniel Jones in this period completed 67% of his passes with 6.8 yards per attempt. He has passed for 1,432 yards in this span with 5 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. Losses have all come to playoff-contending teams with 4 point spread covers in those 6. A win and the Giants make the playoffs. New York cover success the key here. Colts have just spiraled downward the past 3 road games, getting outscored by nearly 18 points a game. Play here will be on the Giants at -5.5. Saints and Eagles, NFL pick here Sunday. New Orleans wide receiver Olave questionable with the guard out. On defense, out is a safety with a corner and linebacker questionable. Eagles quarterback Jalen Hurts doubtful with the right tackle out. Defensive starters healthy. New Orleans improved to 6-9, a 17-10 road win at Cleveland. Saints gained just 244 yards in the win. They've been held to under 300 yards in 3 of 4 games. Team is under in 7 of 8. Saints defense held the Browns to 249 yards. Saints have allowed 18 or fewer points in 4 straight. Andy Dalton attempted just 15 passes in extreme cold conditions. Prior to last week, his previous 3 road games, Dalton completed 65%, 7.2 yards per attempt. Philadelphia, they fell at 13-2, a 40-34 road defeat at Dallas. Eagle offense did produce 442 yards with backup Gardner Minshew under center. Defense allowed 304 passing yards to the Cowboys with 6 sacks and 35 attempts. Gardner Minshew figures to get the start here. Minshew completed 60%, 8.9 yards per attempt. He passed for 355 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 2 picks. Over the past 3 games, the Eagles defense averaging 6.3 sacks a game. That is not good for immobile Andy Dalton. Saints' run game has underperformed the past 3 games as well, with very limited yardage on the ground. New Orleans wins next 2 games. Buccaneers lose next 2, and they are the NFC South champs. One more win in the next 2 games, and the Eagles win the NFC East plus get the bye. The play here will be Philadelphia at -5.5. Panthers and Buccaneers, NFL pick here for Sunday. Carolina offensive starters are healthy with the corner out. Tampa Bay receiver Jones and left tackle questionable. On defense, a corner out with the remaining 3 in the secondary questionable. They've got a nose tackle questionable as well. Carolina improved to 6-9, a 37-23 home win to Detroit. Strong offensive performance by the Panthers, 570 yards, 320 rushing. Team has covered 5 of 6 winning 4 of those games. Sam Darnold, returning from injury, completed 61% of his passes with 8.6 yards per attempt. He's thrown for 4 touchdowns and no interceptions. Defense the past 3 games holding teams at 331 yards and only 3.2 yards per rush. They have been getting good getting off the field on 3rd down in this period. Tampa Bay improved to 7-8 after a 19-16 road overtime win at Arizona. Offense did move the football for 396 yards, but only 1 touchdown scored. Tom Brady averaged 5.9 yards per attempt with a touchdown and 2 picks. This season, Brady career low, 6.2 yards per attempt. Panthers have covered all 4 of the division games this year. Hard to trust the Bucs to cover more than a field goal here. Carolina run game behind Hubbard and Foreman, really a big help to Darnold. A Buccaneers win, and they do clinch the division. A loss, and they need a win in Week 18 plus help. Panthers went out and make the playoffs. Play here Carolina plus the 3.5. Browns and Commanders, NFL pick here for action on Sunday. Cleveland starters on offense healthy with the defensive end questionable. Washington starters healthy with the safety doubtful and a corner questionable. Cleveland fell to 6-9, a 17-10 home defeat to New Orleans. It was just a dismal offensive performance here. 249 yards for Cleveland. Past 3 games, Browns have averaged just 292 yards on defense in this period. They have allowed 310 yards, but 5.2 yards per rush. Deshaun Watson had a season low 48% completion rate in the loss with 4.4 yards per attempt. This season, Watson a 58% completion rate with 5.7 yards per attempt. Washington drops to 7-7-1. It was a 37-20 road defeat at San Francisco. Team put up 349 yards with only 79 rushing yards on 33 carries. They did allow nearly 6 yards per rush to the 49ers. Washington winless in 3 straight with issues in the pass protection and 30% conversion rate on 3rd down. Carson Wentz relieved last week, completed 12 of 16 for 123 yards and a touchdown. Wentz starts on Sunday and on the season a 63% completion rate with 6.5 yards per attempt. Cleveland out of the playoffs. Commanders went out and they make the playoffs. With a loss and win next week, the Commanders will need help. Browns offense held to 13 points or fewer in 3 straight. Play here will be Washington at -2. '49ers and Raiders NFL pick here for Sunday. Receiver Samuel's out for the '49ers with defensive starters healthy. Raiders offense healthy on both sides of the football. San Francisco improved to 11-4 after a 37-20 home win to Washington. 49ers moved the football for 371 yards. It is an 8-game win streak with the 49ers here, allowing 20 points or fewer in this period. Past 3 games, the 49ers defense holding teams at 316 yards, 3.3 yards per rush, and only 5.5 yards per pass attempt. The offense in this period generated 177 yards with 5.5 yards per rush. Rookie Brock Purdy in his past 4 games completing 69% of his passes, 8 yards per attempt. He has thrown for 846 yards, 8 touchdowns, and 2 picks in this period. Las Vegas fell to 6-9, a 13-10 road defeat at Pittsburgh. Raiders in a cold night on the road gained only 201 yards. Past 3 games, Las Vegas has averaged 270 yards, 164 passing for 5.6 yards per attempt. With these poor passing numbers, the Raiders bench Derek Carr. Jarrett Stidham will get the start. Stidham has seen just pretty much mop-up duty. A career 52% completion rate with 5.6 yards per attempt, throwing for 2 touchdowns and 4 interceptions. 49ers have clinched the NFC West. They will be either a 2 or 3 seed in the playoffs. Raiders must win out. They need a lot of help here. Would expect San Francisco to remain sharp to avoid poor form entering the playoffs. Take San Francisco here at -9.5. Jets and Seahawks NFL pick here Sunday. Jets right guard questionable with a free safety questionable. Seattle running back Walker questionable with Lockett upgraded to expected to play. Right tackle questionable. Seahawks nose tackle safety questionable. Jets fell to 7-8, a 19-3 home defeat to the Jacksonville Jaguars. New York gained only 227 yards. Jets have lost 5 of 6 with the exception coming at home to a down Bears team. But Mike White returns after missing 2 games to injury. White in his 2 road starts, 57% completion rate with 6.3 yards per attempt. Did throw for no touchdowns and 2 picks. Seattle fell to 7-8, a 24-10 road defeat to the Kansas City Chiefs. Seahawks have lost 5 of 6 with the win coming at a down Rams team. Seahawks gained 333 yards in the loss. Since the bye, Geno Smith is completing 67% of his passes with 7.2 yards per attempt. Best unit though on the field is this Jets defense. Jets must win out. They need help to make the playoffs. Seattle 2 needs to win out and get help to make the playoffs. The play here will be on New York at -1. Vikings and Packers NFL pick Sunday. Minnesota center is out with their defense healthy. Packers receiver Watson questionable with the defensive starters healthy. Minnesota improves to 12-3, a 27-24 home win to the New York Giants. Vikings win on a 61-yard field goal as time expired. They've won 4 of 5 but missed covers in 3 straight. In this 3-game span, the Vikings defense allowing 417 yards with 4.6 yards per rush, 273 passing with 7.2 yards per attempt. Offense in this period averaging 429 yards, 363 passing, and 7.6 yards per attempt. Kirk Cousins on the season a 66% completion rate and 7 yards per attempt. Cousins has averaged 3 touchdown throws per game the past 3. Green Bay 7-8 with their 26-20 road win at Miami. After falling behind 20-10, the Packers held the Dolphins scoreless in the final 34 minutes. 3 straight wins for Green Bay as their defense allowed 314 yards, with the offense posting 26 points a game. Aaron Rodgers during this win streak, 64% completion rate with 6.6 yards per attempt. Vikings over in 5 straight behind strong offense and poor defense. Minnesota has won the NFC North, can only earn the top NFC seed with winning out and the Eagles losing out. Packers win out and will need help to make the playoffs. They go 1-1 in their final 2 games and need a lot of help. Packers lose the final 2 and they're eliminated. Play here will be Minnesota and Green Bay over 47.5. Rams and Chargers NFL pick here for Sunday. Rams have a tight end, Higbee, questionable, and on defense, a linebacker questionable as well. Chargers fullback Horvath questionable with a safety out. Rams improved to 5-10, a 51-14 home win to Denver Broncos. Rams offense posted 388 yards. They've covered 4 of 5. Baker Mayfield playing for a job somewhere next season, coming off a big game, 86% completion rate, 8.2 yards per attempt. With the Rams, a 69% completion rate with 6.8 yards per attempt. Rams defense passed 3 games, holding teams at 323 yards, 4.4 yards per rush, and 6.6 yards per pass attempt. Chargers improved to 9-6 and clinched a playoff spot with that 23 row win at Indianapolis. Chargers win by putting up 314 yards. 3 straight wins for the Chargers, holding teams at 225 yards. Justin Herbert passed 3 games, 73% completion rate, 7.4 yards per attempt. But he's only thrown for 1 touchdown and 3 picks in that period. Chargers have had struggles in the red zone in this span of 3 games. Chargers 10-19-2 as a home favorite to the spread the past 31 spots. Chargers have made the playoffs and will be either a 5, 6, or 7 seed. That's not much to play for with likely 3 straight road games needed to make to the Super Bowl. The play here will be the Rams at plus 6.5. Steelers and Ravens NFL pick here for Sunday. Pittsburgh starters healthy on offense, a linebacker questionable on defense. Lamar Jackson out for Baltimore. On defense, a corner with an end questionable. Pittsburgh improved to 7-8. A 13-10 home win to Las Vegas Raiders. Steelers, a touchdown on a late fourth quarter drive was the difference. They put up 350 yards with 344 with a good number of yards, 244 passing. Steelers defense shut down the Raiders offense for 201 yards. Steelers defense past 3 games has allowed 240 yards, 3.8 yards per rush, 6.1 yards per pass attempt. Kenny Pickett, since the bye week, completing 62% of his passes with 6.4 yards per pass attempt, but just 3 touchdowns and 1 pick in this 5-game period. Baltimore 10-5 after a 17-9 road win at Atlanta. Ravens gained 299 yards in the win. Defense allowed Atlanta 327 yards, but 0-4 inside the red zone. Past 3 games, Baltimore defense holding opponents at 313 yards, 3.8 yards per rush, 6.7 yards per pass attempt. Tyler Huntley gets the start for the injured Jackson. This season, Huntley a 67% completion rate with 5.8 yards per attempt. He has thrown 1 touchdown, 2 picks. Ravens under an 8 of 10. Steelers win out and they finished with a win record, but they will need a lot of help to make the playoffs with just a 9% chance. Baltimore wins out and they win the AFC North. A loss and the Bengals win on Monday, and the Ravens are a wild card. Both Ravens and Bengals lose this week, and Baltimore wins next week. Well, they are division champions. Baltimore won the first meeting on the road between the Steelers and Ravens this year, 16-14. The play here will be on Baltimore at -2. That was our NFL pick show here for a Sunday. Make sure you subscribe to our channel. And of course, we have free picks from the NFL and tons of free picks from the major sports. So make sure you subscribe and be sure to give us that thumbs up, that like. We greatly appreciate on this video. And of course, visit Tony'sPicks.com for our premium picks, our best bets for today's sports from our cappers over on the site. Use that promo code TonyT and you'll save 20% off all premium pick packages. I'm Tony T. We'll be back later with some NBA college basketball picks a little later on.